Hotspot.
Do you want to go first, or shall I?
No, I do what I usually do. I run away from hotspots. No, I don't. Really, but you know that whole. You should go first. No, yeah.
Yeah. So running away from hotspots is like a natural reaction when things get quickly. A big build-up of energy. So they sort of come in little dribs and drabs. It's something to be expected, that you'll have a little momentary tension, maybe a little gulp or sensation in your belly, and that'll happen. It goes in a rhythm. That'll happen 3 or 4 times. After it's happened 3 times and we haven't addressed it in any way, then they tend to escalate. It tends to get hotter.
The hotspots arise when you feel like, okay, we need to stop because of what's just been brought to the table, what's just been said, and the inclination for me that helped to deal with those hotspots is you do have to slow down, you do have to suspend your judgment long enough for you to be able to hear other points of view. Otherwise, you're just going off your immediate reaction, you're going off your immediate interpretation. And in this space between black and white, you can't afford to do that straight away. You've got to hold back your judgment so you can go, okay, let me think about what's going on here. And it's the place where my initial reaction is to go, okay, we have to fight fair. We have to be honest, we have to be true, but we have to fight fair. This is not the moment to say stuff like, oh, all of you people do this, or this is what I see all the time. You know, we've got to stay in the room, in the context, in what has happened, rather than start to speak about, you know, everything. And like you said, you bring it all in, and it all competes for who's got the right conversation to get centrality, that's the one we're going to deal with at the moment. We just have to find a way to cool down, slow down, and then start to deal with that dynamic in the room at that time. It's like when one of the members in the Lost Conversation said something, and then some of my Indigenous colleagues, then they just went for him. And I was like, no, you. And I would say, okay, what's going on here? Why did we feel that we could do that? Why did we feel like we could just go straight after that when that's not the activity that we would allow him to do to us? And we actually then had to break that down and work on that one a bit more. Yeah, but hotspots will be there all the time.
Yeah, the build-up of tension, escalating to conflict. I can give an example of when my white colleague attacked me because she reckoned I was doing it wrong, and I likely was. It was very relieving, actually, for the group that very hot conflict got processed between my colleague and I, because, well, the feedback from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in the room was, gee, it's great that you're working on this. We usually get lobbed with all this conflict stuff. So it's your turn to have to be a bit messy in public and have a fight. And how do we do that fairly? So we had to unpack it and sort out the accusations, and using the 1% formula that, 1% of everything is going to be true. So we got through that.
Often they can look like, okay, I want to ask you a question about this, and then everyone goes, okay, let's just move on. Nobody wants to deal with it. No one wants to say it. No one wants to acknowledge it, and it becomes a moment where people go, we should probably talk about that thing that didn't happen. We should probably talk about that moment where all the air left the room and someone said, oh, let's go to a break now. It can be like that too, where we reach an edge and we're like, no, we actually don't want to go there. We don't want to talk about that. That's a hot spot. That's something that needs to be uncovered and worked on.
A change in the atmosphere suddenly, yeah. And maybe even a frozen spot, like sometimes trauma can be triggered accidentally, unintentionally, and without knowing. And you might see, I'm trying to think of an example between us, a freeze come across, a glaze in a colleague's eyes, or a withdrawing, and that also needs care. But the hotspots are the ones where we need to hold ourselves to account on them if we're going to make progress. Inevitably at a hotspot, many things compete at once. So all the issues come forward wanting centrality. And it takes a little bit of holding steady and slowing down to work out which ones we're going to deal with first. Is it going to be the length of Mark's beard, or is it going to be the my knits? No. But anyways, yeah. So we'd make a decision then between us whether it's Mark's beard really needs the central attention now, and I could wait to deal with my knit problem later. Probably no one would want to sit near me, but so if you think of a roundabout and a flow of traffic, well, a group working on issues is like a flow of interactions around an issue, and we have to almost be traffic flow facilitators in saying, can that one wait a minute, it's really important and I'll get back to it after we've dealt with this one, because perhaps we'll go further if we take this one on first. What do you think? Would you agree with that, Mark?